Hey, it's Josh Hart. Thank you so much for tuning in to the very first episode of Words of Whiskey, an exciting product to share with you today. Stick around. I have spent the last few years traveling the world and writing about my favorite elixir, whiskey. This show is all about the brands, the spirits, and the distilleries you know and love. Join us as we share our stories and our words of whiskey. On this first episode of Words of Whiskey, I'm joined by my very good friend, Jonathan Wingo. Jonathan, you've done everything in the alcohol biz, from being behind the bar to being a brand ambassador for one of the greatest scotches in the world, to being a guy that was very involved with cask buying. And now you're on your own venture, starting your own product. I want to get more into that at a little later date. But
sure.
I wanted to bring you in to be the first guest on the very first episode and talk about a very unique spirit.
Okay. Hi.
Hi.
It's been a while.
It has. It's been probably over a year, maybe close to 2.
Yeah. Did an adventure between now and then. It is fun to be outside of the house, so thanks for having me. I would love to. This is great to jump in and not have a dog in the fight and just yeah. Whatever you're gonna
what are we
pour
talking
me.
About?
Exactly. I love that.
So you were in next for. And I do want to get more into the cask buying. I want to have you back on many more shows.
Sure.
Because the cask buying is such a huge part of the whiskey process.
Yeah.
And the cooperage and all of those things. All the elements that I love about the tradition of drinking and distilling and making whiskey. This is a product that I saw and I thought, hey, if I was going to talk to someone and get real talk, because most of the people that we both know are still have a dog in the fight.
Yeah.
They still work for a brand or at least a company that they're involved with. But I saw this brand. I wanted to give you a call, and it's called Skrewball Peanut Butter Whiskey.
Okay.
Most of the time, if it says anything before whiskey, other than straight,
sure,
straight bourbon, I don't pick it up.
Okay.
I've seen the blueberry, I've seen blackberry, I've seen all the flavorings.
What's your aversion to that? Why don't you yes, I want that?
It's not a knock on anyone who's tried it.
No.
You can drink, just as a full disclosure, you can drink whiskey any way you want. You can drink spirits any way you want, as long as you're being responsible, of course. For me, it's always just too sugary.
Okay.
I feel like they put a lot of straight flavoring in there, and it's overpowering, and just I am... when I'm drinking peated scotch, I want it to fight. I want it be aggressive.
Sure, all right.
When I'm drinking straight bourbon, my eyes, I want them to just get a little
like the
watery.
burn.
Nothing fall, but get a little watery.
So, what do you think about cocktails? I know this is slightly tangential, but what do you think of, if I were to take all of what you just said and put it back to you? I mean, that is cocktails, right? It's taking something and then modifying it to make it quaffable and different flavors. And
so cocktails to me are like going to a nice hamburger joint.
Okay.
And again, my personal opinion, but going to a nice hamburger joint, Kenny's here in Dallas, Kenny's Hamburger, where it's just juices and it's all gourmet made. Getting the gin and tonic in a can is more of the fast food.
Okay.
And so if I'm sitting down, I bet you with Skrewball, and I've seen a couple of the recipes online, I know you can make a phenomenal cocktail.
Okay.
That's meant to have flavors and adding, and you're using the barrel of something as an essence on the back end, but we're going to put simple syrup, and we're going to mix things together. That's a whole different ballgame.
Sure.
But as far as bottle spirit poured into a glass and consumed, neat or on the rocks, I don't want to have a lot of sugar in there.
Okay. If there were flavors that came with just natural essences and didn't necessarily have to come with sugar, was balanced, I think, assuming that we could get it how we liked it, I think the other pushbacks I've seen or heard from flavored whiskeys are we spend so much time making the whiskey with our voice, with our lens, in a particular way, as complex as possible. So the idea of the cocktail was always adding to this complexity. So the only pushback I've ever seen for flavored is we're taking something complex and we might be making it more approachable or more one note of that thing. So I love tasting new things for folks who are definitely passionate about whiskey and also want to have this other thing going on.
I guess in that same vein, I think, on that same thread, a lot of scotches, a lot of whiskeys, depending on the kind of wood that you use, you get vanilla, and you can definitely pick those up, and those are natural elements. But I think, and again, I'm probably wrong because I usually am, but I think I'm able to tell a difference between barrel infused like vanilla and putting in like 17 drops of peanut butter flavoring.
Yeah.
Which
Sure.
I'm not saying they did that. I actually did look online to see how Skrewball gets the peanut butter flavoring in there. I know briefly about the story about this. We'll play a video here in a second. But briefly about the story, it's a husband and wife team, which I love.
Yep.
Keep it in the family. The husband is a refugee from Cambodia, that's a unique story. And his wife has her master's in pharmacy and law, and she does pharmaceutical law, which is
What a jerk. Overachiever.
Yeah,
Fine.
2 master's degrees, and so
And wanted another project. All right, whatever.
They had a kid. And they realized, hey, we both can't keep working really hard separate. We need to work really hard together, which is
Nice.
And so they combined and they came up with Skrewball. I know when they were talking about it, they said that he was working at one of his bars, and the peanut butter shots, which I, full disclosure, never ordered one of those before.
No.
But the peanut butter shots were flying off the shelf, and so I looked up what a peanut butter shot is, and sure enough, there's actually no whiskey in there, but it is a coffee liqueur and a Bailey's kind of Irish cream, and then you take a scoop of peanut butter and put it in the cup, and then you shake it, so it blends the fats from the peanut butter with the alcohol, and then you strain it out and pour it out into a shot glass. And so I thought, if they're actually taking a scoop of peanut butter and putting it into a barrel, that would be really fascinating, how you would do that. But the clarity, if you can look back at the close-up shot of the bottle, the clarity of it, there's no way that's actual. And again, you know more about the biz than me, but from what I've seen of the process, it would be very hard to strain out the peanut butter. I've brewed beer before, and we can't get that crystal clear.
Yeah. Well, there is a benefit, I will say, just a little nerdy moment, that alcohol is a pretty awesome holder and combiner of oils and can keep a lot of things in solution. I think in this day and age, it is probably possible to get the fats and the flavor notes that we would recognize for peanut butter to be in solution with whiskey in some way. It could be sometimes sugar also helps with solution. And then there's a whole bunch of technology where you can also like literally vap out either rotovap or put things under pressure or under, I guess, another force.
You're saying rotovap. I've never heard that. What is a rotovap?
It's basically a way to take solids out of a liquid, things that would not be in solution, so you can just spin something very quickly and remove those. Fat washing is something that mixologists do, but the concept is to allow the alcohol to hold those flavors in solution, and then you get rid of
the excess,
right? Yeah. The oils that would not be held in solution. All of that said, this is still bottled at 35%, which would be quite low and would typically throw off a haze for a lot of oils and solids. So the only thing that the ingredient says, and it's probably an allergy thing, but it does say contains peanuts. So there's definitely something legit in there.
Yeah. So I want to run. They have an ad that they have for Skrewball. I'm going to run that right now while we get this poured into our glasses and get set up.
Skrewball is really reflective of Ocean Beach, a place that just accepts you for who you are.
Ocean Beach allows you to be a Skrewball. You can be whatever you want and you're accepted with open arms. This is the best place in the world. Skrewball in the future, who knows? I think the sky's the limit. This product and brand is built right. The Black Sheep's our logo. You know, we are the ultimate underdog in the liquor industry. People yearn for something different, and here we are. So cheers to the Misfits, to the Black Sheep, and to the Skrewballs.
So I'm nosing just a little, and again, the little small sampler bottles. I went back to actually buy a whole bottle, and they only had the small airplane ones. But I'm getting a lot of peanut butter.
Yeah.
Right on the nose.
Yeah, it certainly yells at you, peanut butter. Peanut butter is such a nuts in general are very specific and usually used as tasting notes, but when it's peanut butter, you do. I think it inherently to me gives me like a childhood sweetness of some sort, some undergirding of creamy or crunchy peanut butter. What I do think is interesting though is that going back to how casks you can withdraw flavors from casks. There's a ton of distilleries that have found ways to get roasted peanut right off of the nose, just from how they're distillate. There's a guy out in Colorado who does direct fire stills and puts it into a particular type of cask, and when you smell his bourbon, it smells like roasted peanuts. So we also see that in the Scotch world with some sherry cask use. You get some of those like more nutty oxidized sherry notes. So I do think it has already been proven as a concept that nutty flavor can go with whiskey, and they're both kind of complex.
Well, and that's what the website says. It says the bold flavor of whiskey mixed with the smooth, creamy is a natural combination of peanut butter. It's a natural combination for this. What I'm not picking up is any sort of like notes of like wood or like that kind of like barrel-y. I can smell the alcohol.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you what spirit it was. That we were just nosing it, but I'm sure if we sat with it here long enough, we could probably detect. Yeah, there's like some slight hint of ethanol in there, and I'm sure as that blows off.
I like to do neat first, and then I have a glass for rocks if you want to add a little bit of water to it.
Why do you like to do neat first?
Because you can't take the ice back out.
Fair enough.
So just for me, it's just a system of it's kind of a.
And this is 35%. Certainly, viscosity right off the. I get that idea, and definitely finishes straight peanut butter.
You get like I feel like I'm chewing on peanuts. Like it's that like actual flavor of peanuts.
Yeah, I am curious. Although I do think peanut butter and whiskey are a great combo, I wonder why they felt whiskey was going to be their best representation for this.
Yeah,
like, cause this is clearly it's a lifestyle whiskey, which I love that there's a space now that if people feel that they need a voice or a lens or something to represent them, we can. Being from the marketing side, I can see that there's both sides to that argument, but I love that people feel like whiskey is a palette in which they can paint and bring a whole bunch of people in. Cool, kudos. I'm wondering why, for this particular flavor, why they want to do whiskey, and it would be maybe that's like something that they're into or they want.
Yeah, because you've seen a lot of these expressions with vodka. And vodka's a really easy thing to change around, add things to. Doing a little dab here.
Yeah, I'm with you. Sometimes viscosity gets to me. This I think if it's intended to mix, got to figure out dilution and even maybe a chill.
I'll tell you, the favorite recipe I saw on their website, which we'll post in the link below, is a peanut butter old fashioned. And I was like, ooh, that sounds like a good combination. It was. Like basically a shot of this, and then 0.75 ounces of rye, ice, and then the cherry and orange and some bitters and shake. But I can see that going really well.
Yeah. It's in thinking of it as a cocktail component, it's bringing not too sweet, in my opinion. The viscosity is there. The sugar is definitely there. I do think that helps them a little bit with how they're able to mix and get some of those flavors out. But I think of like a very high-end craft cocktail place, they are probably going to use some sort of nut bitters to help make their house old-fashioned, and then they're going to have their own particular type of flavor or sweetener that they're going to want to use. And so having all that in there, I don't hate this. I have a ton of open-ended questions of just like why whiskey?
Yeah.
Why was this? I mean, it's super approachable. I could see, and I love everyone's hustle too. So I typically got angry at the industry when shortcuts were made. So if we are not allowing folks to make big jumps from like a more infantile, comfortable palate into what we would consider adult beverages or drinking.
Yeah.
There are some umami. There's other ways to play in our palates. I don't think this offends that.
Nope.
I don't think it's about bringing. We always said no children. Like, you're not trying to get people
No.
and kids to drink it. I don't think it's irresponsible in that way. I do think it's very approachable. I don't think it's as weird as maybe they think it is.
Oh, I thought it was going to be like just hideous. My thought was this is not going to be palatable. Like, to
Right,
me.
right.
And it definitely is. And I think you're right. Their marketing is on point because all over their website, it's probably people high 20s, mid to high 20s who are all out like beach party, having a good time, sitting around. And when you see mature Scotch brands or like the mature whiskey brands, always like an older gentleman, late 40s,
White.
mid 40s, yeah,
Always white, yeah.
yeah. And this was a very mixed race commercial with like kids having fun on the beach and skateboarding and doing different things. So, which you would never see that commercial and then go Macallan.
Yeah.
You would never see.
Don't put it past anybody right now.
That's true. So no, I think as far as sipping, it wouldn't be something that I would buy and sip on neat. But I think cocktails, mixing it with things, I think it'd be a phenomenal drink for that.
Yeah, having a 35% or a 70 proof mixer, I know most of my friends that were mixologists really love the higher proof stuff so that they could do their own dilution. But this isn't like a 20 or 25, 24%. This is up there. So it kind of plays between both worlds. Thanks for sharing.
No problem. If you guys have any thoughts or comments or have anything else you want me to review or share, please leave it in the link below or comment below. Again, I am Josh with Words of Whiskey. This is my good friend Jonathan Wingo. Has done everything in Wingo?
Wingo, like bingo with a W.
I don't know why I said Wango. I don't know why I said that for. Jonathan Wingo, he's done everything in the industry. So any questions you have, you can always at him. Do you have a social tag?
Yeah, at Whiskey Wingo. Whiskey without an E.
Yeah. So the proper way.
I don't know. Fewer characters.
There you go. We'll be back next week for one more episode. And always on Words of Whiskey, I want to encourage you, please drink responsibly.